Can everybody please join me with the pledges of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks for everybody joining us today. We'll move on to public comment, and I think we have Sarah Artser. If you'd please join us at the podium and.
Mary
Oh.
told me I didn't have to.
Place without rules, we lose a mayor, and now it's lawless.
Hello. Okay, so I wanted to come forth and introduce myself and formally put my name in for the vacancy on the commission. My name is Sarah Artser, for those who don't know me. I'm going to give a little spiel about who I am, what I do, and whatnot. So, I am a Goodland High School graduate. I graduated in 16. After school, I went on to Wichita State, and that's where I got my bachelor's in business management with a minor in psychology. After that, my husband and I moved up to Kansas City. We lived there for about 4 years, experienced the city thing, realized we didn't really like it. We were really missing the community. He's also he's a lifelong Goodland resident, and his family is. So in 2022, we moved back to town. The first thing I really wanted to focus on was trying to get involved and get in with the community more, because I've noticed there's people my age, people from my class that have stayed or come back, but they haven't really done the community involvement thing. So the first thing we did is we got involved with the Goodland Ambassadors as soon as we could. So it's been a few years that we've been a part of that, and I am the serving vice president. So in 2026, I will be the president of the Ambassadors. It's been an honor to be chosen to lead that organization. It's a really wonderful organization for the community. So we've been back in town a couple years. I currently work for a company called TreviPay. It's out of Kansas City. I work remote. I've been there for 5 years. Not to bore you with it, it's a boring company. I love them. I love my job, but it's a business-to-business credit solutions company. So we do a lot of back-end invoicing for bigger companies. I specifically work with Red Wing Shoes, so I work directly with them. I mentioned my husband. For those who don't know him, his name is Cole Artser. Him and his family have lived here forever. One of them's behind me, so. He started his accounting firm here in town last year in 24, so I got to be a part of starting a new business in town and absorbing a current business. So I got to see the ins and outs of that, which was fun. And then kind of my last point I want to make is I grew up around this. For those who don't know, my dad is Jerry Beaker. So he was the city manager here in town from 14 to 16. And he was the director of KMEA, who I know we do some business with. Like 3 weeks ago, he hung it up. He retired. So there's no conflict of interest there. He's enjoying his retirement. I'm looking to do this. So I just want to say I do really have a passion for this community and for the town of Goodland. Being away from it made me realize how much I really did enjoy it and how much I want to help make it as good as it can be. So that's why I'm looking to fill this vacancy. So, do you guys have any questions for me?
No, not at this time. Thank you for your volunteering for fill the position. We're going to discuss that later in the meeting and figure out what we're going to do as
Okay.
a commission.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think you guys have my resume, so you should have my phone number and stuff if you need anything.
All right. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thank
Sarah.
you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda items. A, 12/16/24 commission meeting minutes, and B, appropriation ordinances 2025-01, 2025-01A, 2025-01B, 2025-01C, 2025-P01, and P01A. Is there any comments on those?
No, I move that we approve consent agenda A and B.
I have a motion by Commissioner Myers. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And I have a second by Commissioner Showalter. Any further discussion?
No.
Roll, please.
Redlin, Myers,
Yes.
Showalter,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes. All right, moving on to the fun one for the night. The Commissioner Leadership Transaction and Oath. A, election of the mayor for a 1-year term. Do I have any motions for that?
How would you actually say it? I want to nominate.
Nominate, yeah.
Like to nominate Jason Showalter
For the position of mayor.
for the position of mayor.
And I will second that nomination. Roll, please.
Yes.
Redlin, Myers,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes. You get to move.
Well, that was fun.
Raise your right hand. I, Jason Showalter,
I, Jason Showalter,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas.
and the laws of the City of Goodland.
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as mayor
as mayor
of the City of Goodland,
of the City of Goodland.
so help me God.
So help me.
So I just need you to sign. Congratulations.
Mary, you didn't even look at the paper when you read that.
She practiced, she practiced. Come on down.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks, Jason. All right, so we'll move on to the election of vice mayor for a term of 1 year. Do I have any nominations? If not, I nominate J.J. Howard to serve as vice mayor.
Second.
Second by Ann. Mary, roll, please.
Howard,
Yes.
Redlin, Myers,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
You get this one again. I, J.J. Howard,
I, J.J. Howard,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the laws of the City of Goodland,
and
Kansas.
the laws of the City of Goodland, Kansas.
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of Vice Mayor
as Vice Mayor
of the City of Goodland,
of the City of Goodland.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Okay? You can sign that.
Oh, you want the paper?
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I think we're good. Thanks, Jason. All right, we have no ordinances and resolutions tonight. We'll move on to formal actions, starting with the Welcome Center lease agreement. Kent?
We've done this for several years, but basically have the commission approve the renewal each year. Attached is the copy of the Welcome Center lease that's used by Sherman County Community Development to welcome people to town out at the Big Easel, so, and Highway 24.
Any questions or comments about the Welcome Center lease agreement?
I make a motion to approve the Welcome Center lease agreement.
A motion by Commissioner Howard to approve the lease agreement.
Second?
I have a second by Commissioner Myers. Mary, roll please.
Myers,
Yes.
Redland, Howard,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. All right, the 2026 Airport Capital Improvement Plan approval.
And I don't know, yeah, Darren hasn't included on the City Commission Communication Form, the CCCF, this is the annual airport improvement plan that is submitted to the FAA. It helps with all the different grant funding that occurs with the FAA. It basically provides what our plans are for the next 5 years, and then 5 to 10 years, and then beyond that. And the next projects on this airport improvement plan, which is actually for federal fiscal year 26, which is actually in October of this year, but takes a while to get through all the FAA stuff. The airport board reviewed this. Darren and Andrew with EBH Engineering reviewed this proposal with the airport board in December, and it is come to your consideration here. The items on the project list include, number one is a building for the snow removal equipment, which we have just received all the different parts to that here within the last month. It basically has $395,800 for a building to house that, whether that's a building to add on to our current building for the airport fire equipment that's located out at the fire department, or whether it's a separate building. That's not decided with this part. But it's 90% federal and 10% city. Then it goes through the FAA process, whether it's approved or not. But that's the first item, is snow removal equipment building. The second one is design for an extension to the main runway, runway 1230. Basically just over 1,000 feet longer, I think, on the main runway. And the design is number 2, which is a separate monetary item. Then the ILS relocation for the main runway extension, which is moving the instrument landing services to a different location so that it has to be a certain distance from the end of the runway. So if you're going to extend the runway, you need to move the ILS. And that's $1.6 million in order to do that. That's a big ticket item. And then the actual extension of runway 1230 is over $3 million in today's prices. By the time it actually be grant funded, it might be more, obviously. But those are the next 4 items on the airport improvement, the AIP list that's submitted to the FAA. And we've done an awful lot of work out at the airport, but in order to keep it the best operating airport that we can, these are the items that the airport board has approved to submit.
Can you remind me what projects do we have going out there right now?
We have basically completed, and I might need Andrew's help with EBH, as far as the crosswind runway, and we ended up having to move, what's the name of it again? Sure, please take it on.
So we, we just finished with the extension and reconstruction of the crosswind. So that was all completed. We had to move, just like the ILS, had to move the PAPI boxes, the precision approach equipment or instrument. The same distance we extended to that'd be the northeast. So those projects are basically completed. It's just the final year's
Sign off.
worth of paperwork stuff that has to be done. And then also what just wrapped up was all of the sealing. So the entire main runway was resealed and restriped. Same with a good portion of the apron out in front of all the hangars. And then just as Kent mentioned, the snow removal, the SRE equipment, was just purchased. So, and it's up and running. It was out at the airport today. So it's kind of where we're at.
Great.
And this list isn't a set in stone for the next 5 years. This is something we do, in case you don't remember, annually. So if there's a priority change, something happens next year that we see a priority change, that can, we would talk to the FAA, obviously, if the board saw a priority change, and we could make those changes on that list. So this isn't a set in stone thing, but it's like Kent said, it's a planning tool that the FAA needs for whenever they start budgeting for these larger scale projects.
And the feds apply $150,000 a year to our airport. And when it reaches the amount that's within the federal share of these grants, then they allow our project to move forward.
And that's not your 10% though. So that's a separate.
That's their 90%.
Yeah, that's the 10% strictly comes out of the airport fund, the city's
Right.
airport fund. So that 150,000 doesn't just go into there.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Do you have any other comments or questions about the airport capital improvement plan?
I move that we approve the airport capital improvement plan for FY '26 as presented.
I have a motion by Commissioner Myers,
Second.
second by Commissioner Howard. Mary, roll please.
Howard,
Yes.
Redland, Myers,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. All right. Amendment to the trash contract for the 24/7 travel store.
We had a request earlier in '24 by the 24/7 travel store. They've had issues with the number of times trash is picked up at the store. It becomes an issue at certain times just because weekends and holidays are busy times at the travel store. For the trash company, it becomes an issue of, how many resources to just take care of that customer. The travel store is implemented in some other locations, a compactor with a roll-off. That's a better way to handle the trash on site, so it presents a better image for people traveling through town, takes care of the trash better. Talked with Chuck Redland with In the Can LLC regarding with their contract. He said it would work better for their operations. Don't know about work better, but it's almost more of a problem for his operations to try to schedule drivers to take care of 24/7 travel store. The travel store came back with a representative here about a month and a half ago to a previous meeting asking they were ready to move forward with that and requested an amendment to the contract. And that's what's presented to you tonight, because the contract says that we will serve, they're required to provide trash service to all our current customers in town, including a few customers outside of town. With the only exclusion being Walmart. This acts the exclusion for the 24/7 travel store.
So when will this take effect, that they won't pick up the trash anymore?
It's more when they have their operation set up with 24/7.
Well, it sounds to me like this is a pretty easy one for us, so. With that, I would make a motion to approve the amendment to the trash contract for the 24/7 travel store.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Myers. Mary, roll please.
Myers,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Redland, Showalter,
Yes. Thank you. Discussion items, process to fill the vacant seat on the commission.
I will start. I'll ask City Attorney Kling to be involved in this conversation as well. Included in your packets is the section within the city code that says not so much about how this is to occur. It basically says the vacancy of any elected office shall be filled until the next annual election by appointment of the governing body. All officers elected shall be qualified electors of the city. That is the one requirement. It needs to be a city resident. But as far as how that should occur, that's really up to the city commission. We were waiting until the resignation of the previous commissioner, Mayor Thompson, took place, and that he was no longer attending meetings, and he was officially off the commission to be able to talk about this. I don't know if Jake, if you wanted to pick up as far as what are the steps to take at this point.
So, as far as, yeah, our code is not helpful. It's just something that we kind of want to put on the back burner too. This is another piece of things we probably want to fix, to clarify, show here's the process that you want to go through. But from state statutes anyway, we've got 60 days from the vacancy. So did we make his resignation or his vacancy was effective as of January 1? When did we actually?
Effective as of December 31st.
Okay. So we have 60 days to have the vacancy filled. So basically you appoint somebody and then by majority vote, you then put that person in that position. They will fill that term. So Mayor Thompson or Aaron, they had another 3 years left, I believe. So it's not just until the next election cycle, they will fill that position's term. So it's not for a short stint of time, really. So when it gets down to it, there's not a whole lot of guidance as far as how you want to go about it, whether you get a pool of candidates or how you want to do it. But ultimately, and again, you've got one person who's vocalized publicly their interest. I don't know if you've had anybody else come to you guys individually or if you've reached out to anybody and stuff like that. I think what you should do is determine more of a timeline of like, okay, by this meeting, we want the pool of candidates to be solidified, so then we can come into the next meeting most likely with your pick. Something along those lines. It's really up to you on what you want to do, how you want to do it. Understand that it's obviously, none of it can be an executive session, so again, by their very nature, it's going to be for an elected position, so everything, all the discussion has to be out in the open. Same thing, you can't have a potential candidate come in and ask to go into executive session. That can't work, right? So it's really kind of your guys' deal. The only thing I will tell you, it's a very weird thing, but I found this. I've had a lot of really weird things in the statutes that I wasn't aware of. It definitely wasn't in the job title. But since you have 4, right, because of our form of government, if you have a candidate or 2 candidates and you are split 2 and 2, the city attorney casts the deciding vote. Now, if you cannot come to a consensus, right, so like if everybody has their own person that they like and you can't come to an agreement, if we do not have the vacancy filled within 60 days, we then have to submit it for a special election to then go before the county election official. Then everybody is open, obviously, anybody can file and run for that position, and then that will happen at that special election cycle. But that's really about it as far as the parameters.
Mary, can you give us some historical context maybe on how it's been handled in the past?
Yeah. In the past, basically, you've had candidates come forward and the commission would talk to them and see, why they're interested. Basically kind of what Sarah did.
Mm-hmm.
just need to, as a commission, decide the time frame. Basically what we're doing tonight.
That would be my suggestion, just because it's easier to follow. It doesn't do you guys any good. If, say, this next meeting, you have a pool of 3 people, and then at the next meeting, when you're getting ready to make a decision, somebody else shows up and says, oh, by the way, I also talked to so-and-so, and they are interested too. I just think for your guys' benefit, it's better to set a timeline of we need to do this, or how you want to do it. If you wanted to, say, okay, I have these people in mind, I'll go talk to them, by next meeting report, so that we know, okay, this will be the pool of candidates, then communicate with them to be here at the next meeting to present or whatever you want to do. It's up to you.
Yep. I guess my preference would be to set the date as the first meeting in February, have everybody show up that's interested, come make a short statement during public comment, just like Mrs. Archer did, and then vote at the end of the meeting. I think I would also prefer too that we had an ad in the newspaper requesting, if any interested parties were wanting to participate, that they needed to have it there by that date. So that way, I guess we kind of had that in writing that was firm that we were gonna cast our votes that night.
I'm at a trade show on the 3rd, so as long as Brooke is here, unless it can just be the 2 of you. So,
I think it would probably have to be at least 3 of us,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you have to have.
yeah,
Yeah,
Currently, you cannot have a quorum of 2.
Yeah.
Even with 4, right, you still have to have over
oh, yeah,
50%, so Tuesday won't do it.
no. We'd still be within our 60 days though if we were at that last meeting in February, so.
Yeah.
So we'd be here that
Yes.
for sure, that last meeting in
for sure,
February.
yes.
Do they need to be sworn in that night as well to stay within the 60 days, or we just have to make a decision within the 60 days?
No, I think you need to have, I would consider that vacancy filled, and obviously if it's a person that voiced their opinion they want to, and if the appointment, they accept the appointment, then do formal actual swearing in.
Okay.
So that doesn't have to have a meeting, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Oh,
And that might be a good time frame if you guys want to do that, to have anybody submit their name by the first meeting in February, and that they come and talk, or if you guys have questions for any of them. That's happens sometimes with different councils as well. But talk at that meeting, but then the actual decision is made at the second meeting in February.
Yeah, no, honestly, if they wanted to come to the next meeting in January too and speak during public comment, we can just do them as they come along.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not gonna ask, Mrs. Archer can say something again, but, she's given quite a
Yeah.
bit of information already.
Yeah, I think once they come and talk at public comment, we consider that their application, and
Yeah,
then we'll vote at that last meeting in February.
but you won't accept anybody after, like Jake was suggesting, anybody after that first meeting in February, which is
it's the 3rd.
the 3rd of February 3rd, so.
I'm in favor of doing it that way.
Mhm.
Both meetings, and then nobody after the February 3rd meeting, then decide on the
On the 17th.
second meeting in February.
Can we do a couple ads in the newspaper too?
Yeah, that won't be,
Okay.
I don't know what the ad will say, but no.
I just say, I'm not sure what it's gonna say, but Ken will come up with something.
Yeah.
We'll figure out something.
Come hang out with us twice a month. We have a good time.
And just to be clear, there is no formal application process, right? So let's say, in all honesty, you don't even have to listen to anybody. You by your own could have just filled vacancy today, just saying. There is no parameters here, so anybody that comes to you guys and thinks like, well, do you want the resume, do you want that? Not necessarily, you don't have to, they can, nothing says they can't, but there's nothing that says, oh, we need you to submit all of your stuff to Mary by the 3rd, that
which would probably be at least 60 to 90 days out.
From when it got submitted.
Yeah, from when talking with the county clerk, so.
Well, we'll do our best to have it filled by then. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Move on to reports. City manager.
Included in your packet is the manager memo, also the it's the December month-end fund balance report. Sorry for having that mistake on there. Police monthly activity report, and then the building permits quarterly report and the annual report is included in there. We've had a couple things come up here in the last few days. One is, and I'll ask Dustin to come forward and explain what has happened with the lights at 12th and Main for a little bit. Dustin.
We were contacted Saturday saying that eastbound, westbound red lights weren't working. So I think the street department might have got a hold of our service guy, but anyway, the street department wouldn't put stop signs out, eastbound and westbound. This morning, we contacted Gatis, who does all of our traffic lights, and we think we have it determined that during the last, when they replaced the bricks and stuff up on Main, that the contractor hit the conduit, which I know because I'd seen it happen. There might be a faulty wire, which that's what we're hoping. We're hoping it's wire instead of a component on that, because the components, you know, that box is like a $30,000 box. So we're gonna do a little bit more testing tomorrow and see if we can trace that fault out. And if we can, we'll fix it. But if it does happen to be a component part, I'll probably be coming back requesting something different. So that's all I've got.
There wouldn't be any parts off the other one to work on that to fix it?
There could be. All of that box is still on the pole. It just determines if that part is still working in the box,
yeah.
which everything was working when we took them down. So that would be our saving grace, is if we could change out one component of that box. That would help. If it is underground wire and we decide to keep the lights, we're probably looking at boring across Main Street to put in new conduit, which is probably going to require us to take the poles down and replace the entire bases to get the conduit up in the pole. So, which could be costly too.
Right.
So depending on how this proceeds, we may come back with a question regarding, same question we did when we took out the lights at 11th and Main, as far as whether there needs to be additional consideration to take out the lights at 12th and Main. So, but we need to find out the problem first. So
hopefully by tomorrow afternoon we'll kind of have that narrowed down. Thank you.
Thanks,
Sounds
Dustin.
good.
the other thing is our former mayor had received a communication from Cameron Cross, who is the person who created the Van Gogh sunflower easel in Goodland. And he just wanted to take a few minutes to share some thoughts on the sunflower easel project. Is that he is starting another round of proposals to various sites around the world for the 4th Van Gogh sunflower easel. You know that there's 3 of them. As you probably know, my original idea was to place 7 sunflower easels in 7 countries or cities that have a relationship to the sunflower or Vincent van Gogh himself. To date, I have approached dozens of potential sites without much success. I've had interest, of course, but I still haven't landed that 4th easel site. My main focus has been on cities and towns in Argentina, Japan, the Ukraine before the war, the Netherlands and France, obvious places for their relation to the sunflower and or Van Gogh. been frustrating, but I'm not one to give up. I'm recently retired from teaching, so I have a bit more time on my hands now. Here's a new thought that I wanted to share with you. Since Kansas is the sunflower state, what do you think about attempting to place another or even the remaining 4 sunflower easels in cities in Kansas? The message kind of blocks off his next sentence. Could bring a fresh look to the project and create a new pathway for tourism opportunities. Could have a great road trip potential. Perhaps a partnership between Kansas Tourism and some major corporate sponsors. Of course, this would have to be done with the express consent from the folks in Goodland. When you have time, please share this idea with your colleagues for some feedback. Anyway, just wanted to share some new thoughts. So I just wanted to give you guys that. If you have any initial reaction, or if you can let you ponder that over the next couple weeks and come back next time with some feedback to be able to give to Cameron.
When was that one done? Do you know? Anybody know?
It was 2000 or, yeah, it was right around the turn of the century. 2012 was when it was repainted.
Okay.
And it's about time for another repainting. So we'll be talking about that at budget time. Or we have previously. It's about $15,000. That was an older price estimate to get it done. Or actually, that was the price that it was done in 2012. It was like 14 or 15,000. So obviously now it would be a little more than that. So, but it's nice that Goodland is very unique to Goodland as far as the big easel. But having it in other places in Kansas, would it hurt or help as far as our site? Don't know. But he's thinking along some different lines regarding it. So, but I'll let you guys ponder that and then ask for some feedback at the next commission meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for our city manager? Okay, move on to commissioner reports. Start here on my left with Commissioner Howard.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Myers?
Nothing at this time.
And I've got nothing to report as well. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Howard.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Myers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.